Let's talk about something that we don't hear a lot about: yeast. Yeast in the body is kind of a double-edged sword. We need it in some aspects, in other aspects, it's bad. What problems does yeast cause? So, yeast causes things like your toe fungus, athlete's foot, jock itch, candida, which is when you have that white tongue, which is a yeast overgrowth in your gut. It can cause things like dandruff and seborrheic dermatitis, that type of thing that leaves that red, flaky skin on the body that can be on the chest, the face, the hair. What do we need to do about yeast? So, the first thing we need to do is yeast feeds on simple carbohydrates. So, simple carbohydrates are going to be your sugars, a lot of fruit, refined carbohydrates, alcohol. All those things fuel growth of yeast. They love those simple carbohydrates. Now, depending on the type of yeast, that can be positive or that can be negative. Yeast and bacteria in the gut, they battle it out. Some support bacteria and some produce things like antibiotics that kill bacteria. For example, the yeast that grows on an orange creates penicillin that kills certain types of bacteria. What we need to do is have a good balance. When we have an overgrowth of yeast, we start to see problems in the body, like we discussed earlier. When there's a good balance in the body, we will see better gut health and overall health, and these conditions that we talked about will diminish. Now, let's talk about what we can take to help support the body fight some of these issues, these yeast overgrowths, because sometimes it gets out of control and just changing our diet isn't going to be quite enough. One of the biggest things that I use with my patients, ironically, is what's called lactic acid yeast. Now, you might be wondering, wait, aren't we talking about getting rid of yeast? No, this is a yeast that is beneficial, one of the ones we just talked about. So what happens is when this yeast feeds on carbohydrates, it produces lactic acid. That lactic acid lowers the pH, makes it more acidic in your gut, and that supports the growth of probiotics. So it's actually supporting certain bacteria, probiotics, and helping get rid of the bad pathological bacteria in our gut. And this gives us an overall health boost in our life. The other thing we use is what's called gut Flora Complex. Now, this is a combination of some herbs and some oils like oregano and a few other things that really break down the cell walls of some of these yeast. So this is something we take. It helps kind of recondition the gut for the proper growth. Put that with that lactic acid yeast, that supports the proper bacteria. It's basically a fertilizer for those bacteria. Now, the final thing that we'll use sometimes is called Zymex. Now, this is a product that is extracted off the growth of another product by standard process, a really unique process. Now, what this does is it actually destroys and disrupts the biofilm that this yeast uses in our gut to protect itself from either other bacteria or our immune system. So we really use these things in harmony to help support the gut, along with the dietary changes to help support overall health and the gut health as well of the microbiome. So if you're having issues with those common fungal overgrowth problems in your body, yeast infections, toe yeast, the seborrheic dermatitis, jock itch, athlete's foot, all those things, take some of those dietary changes and then take a look into supporting that gut health and getting rid of some of those yeast overgrowth to support your overall health.